This is the road content.
Same thing, and then I'm figuring all of that. That's not true. That's not true.
Should have brought a flash.
Yep.
Always get them to buy you two. Get them to buy you the second one, and then keep it in your wallet or whatever you're going to carry. Keep it with you. That way you always have it when you need it. You can pop it out. It's better that way. It's always better. Just keep it in your wallet, and you're set to go. You're ready to go. And you do format it every time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you have good habits to download everything, put it into a hard drive, and external hard drive, everything you want. Edit through, do it every weekend, and then reformat the discs. Because the discs, they have memory, even though they say they don't, they have memory, and it's going to load it up in there. Eventually, it will go bad. So go ahead and do that, and that way you'll have better longevity, and you won't have antlers growing out of the guy's ear, or branch growing out of his head, or stuff like that. People just don't realize that happens. But yeah. Senior?
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Johnson. I'm a minority leader, Democratic leader in the House of Representatives. I'm here with some of my colleagues on behalf of the Democratic Party, Democratic Caucus, and the House of Representatives here in support of our Democratic candidate, the Democratic candidate right now for U.S. Senate, Pinkins. He's running at a time that the state, after having just gone through this election cycle, has major issues that it needs to deal with. We still have infrastructure issues we need to deal with. We still have issues to deal with making sure that children have adequate schools and supplies and facilities to attend school in this state. The infrastructure issues are just all over the place. Water, sewer. Every community in this state has a water sewer issue. Every community in this state has a road and bridge issue that we need to deal with. But thank goodness we have a surplus here in the state, of which over $2 billion of federal money of the $4.5 billion that we didn't spend. So we can really get some things done this year, and we really should. Healthcare, think about it. Think about the fact that public hospitals, when they were established on the Hill-Burton Act, they weren't established to be profitable. They were established because there were poor communities all over the country that the federal government, presidents, felt needed to have and should have. They have a right to health care. And so that's why we do that. And the state of Mississippi should not be left behind, taking care of the people who need to be taken care of by not fully funding. That fully funding works in education, but it also works in health care. That's something we owe the people of Mississippi, and that's something we should do. But we're going to continue to work that supports efforts in this state that thinks about people. And the last thing I want to mention is that the most people-oriented thing that we can get done this year is to get the ballot initiative back to the people of the state of Mississippi. Simple process. Go from 5 congressional districts to 4 congressional districts and give that back to them in a manner that's simple and straightforward because they asked for it and they have the right to. But at this time, those are the issues we're going to be working on in the legislature. Those are the issues we're going to go back and forth with the lieutenant governor and the Speaker of the House and the governor about, and we're going to continue to work on them. But on top of that, we're going to continue to work and try to promote candidates that think about people, that care about the people in the state of Mississippi, who listen to the people in the state of Mississippi. And I'm going to bring to you right now, on behalf of the Democratic Party, a person that is displayed, and every time he opens his mouth, he talks about it, he cares about people. His work has shown he cares about people. A Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, Mr. Pinkins.
Thank you all for coming out. And thank you, Senator, for that wonderful representation. Hello, Mississippi. There is something special about our state. It isn't merely my home. It is the valiant ground that shapes my values, the firm foundation of my principles, and the invincible inspiration for my service. My name is Pinkins, and I stand before you today filled with hope, determination, and resilience as I proudly announce my candidacy for the United States Senate. About a year ago today, I took the first step on a path that has led me through the heart of our state, into your towns, your homes, your lives. I've carried your spirit-filled stories with me, and let me tell you, I have been inspired by what I have heard from you. The dreams you harbor, the trials you face, and the resilience you show have become my guide. Your dreams, my charge, your challenges, my cause, and your resilience my motivation. We embarked on a dialogue, a conversation rooted in our shared aspirations for a better tomorrow. And I'm here not just to continue that conversation, but to deepen, to ensure that together we can turn our hopes into action. Because today, in 2024, our country is at a crossroads. This is a critical election. We have a chance to shape our destiny with our votes, an opportunity to come together to make a choice about our future, Mississippi's future, America's future. My story is a Mississippi story. Growing up, my parents were my role models. They taught me the importance of honesty, perseverance, and fortitude. Neither of them received a formal education. My biological father left before I was born. My mother quit school at 15 years old to give birth to me. She never went back. My stepfather, who helped raise me, also quit school in the 6th grade to start working on the farm, driving tractors. And when I was about 13 years old, he woke me early one morning. He said, go outside and get on that truck. There were men there twice and 3 times my age. The truck took off. And when it stopped, I stood on a narrow dirt road in the middle of a cotton field. I followed those men into that cotton field. And from 13 years old to the rest of my teenage years, I chopped that cotton from sun up to sundown to help my parents pay the bills. There were times when those fields nearly broke me. However, over time, I realized how that experience actually built me up. It taught me the value of hard work and dedication, and perseverance. Now, even though my parents never got a formal education, they taught me the value of a good education. I am a proud product of Mississippi Public Schools. I became the first person in my family to graduate high school enrolling for it. I attended Tougaloo College before joining the military. I served on active duty for 21 years, 3 combat tours, over 36 months in war. Was awarded the Bronze Star. I never forgot what my parents taught me about a quality education. So while on active duty, I finished my degree in political science. As an active duty officer, I served in the White House under Republican and Democratic presidents. After that, I went to law school. I earned my JD, as well as my LLM, my Master's in National Security Law. And after finishing law school, I came right back home to Mississippi. And for the past few years, I have worked as a lawyer and community organizer in some of the most underserved communities in our state, helping single mothers facing eviction in the middle of winter, in the middle of a pandemic, at the same time, representing low-income workers who were cheated out of their pay by big businesses, serving in communities just like the one I was raised in, which gave me so much when it had so little to give. These lessons and this work ethic I will take to Washington to serve the people of Mississippi. Many of our current leaders at the federal level have failed us, forgotten us, and forfeited the promise they made to us and to the United States of America. Jobs in the economy, healthcare, and education are the 3 main pillars to my campaign platform, because those are the 3 main issues that many Mississippians face each and every day. Over the past year, I have traveled all over our state, and I've heard from too many families still struggling just to make ends meet. I have heard from too many folks who still can't afford quality health care. And I have heard from too many teachers about how our under-resourced schools are hurting our children. Our leaders know better, our kids deserve better, and we can do better. For nearly 2 decades, my opponent has been sitting in Washington failing our community, and that's far too long. For far too long, he has failed to bring quality jobs to our state. It is unacceptable that the unemployment rate in some Mississippi counties is nearly triple the national average. It is unacceptable that the poverty rate in some counties is as high as 39%, while the national rate is about 11%. That is a 28% gap that has existed to some degree since my opponent took office, and I want to do something about it. Jobs and the economy. We need an economy that works for all Mississippians, not just the wealthy, but middle class and low-income communities as well. For decades, our state has been near last in job creation and unemployment. According to the Department of Labor, there are over 50,000 people right here in this district still struggling to find a decent job to take care of their families. As a lawyer and community organizer, I have fought to protect Mississippi workers who were cheated out of their pay by big businesses. I went to Washington and I testified before Congress, telling them about how Mississippi workers were being shortchanged by employers. When Mississippi's elected senators in Washington did nothing, I came back and I sued those same businesses. We took them to court and we won. Brought back over $1 million to Mississippi workers who've been cheated out of their pay. But that's not enough. We can do better. We can create a better economy that works for all Mississippians. We do that by making sure that the next major supply chain in America begins right here in our state. And I know we can. Quality, affordable health care. Mississippi ranks 50th in health care coverage. For more than 30 years, my father drove tractors for a living. Before I went off to the military, he was one of the healthiest people I knew. Could run like the wind. Played center field on the community softball team. They called themselves the Elmwood Bombers. After my 3 combat tours, by the grace of God, I came home healthy, only to find that my dad was now a double amputee, nearly blind, in a wheelchair, and along with my mother suffering from kidney failure. Now he sometimes has to drive nearly 3 hours round trip just to get basic health care services. So it's personal to me when I hear that out of the 74 rural hospitals in our state, nearly half of them, 38, are at risk of closing. I know these hospitals are important to our community because I was born in a rural community. Our state is last in infant mortality rate and near last in maternal mortality. This means that a woman who gives birth in Mississippi has a higher likelihood to lose her life or the life of her child in the subsequent 12 months after birth. That's why I support Medicaid expansion. It makes no sense that while everyday Mississippians are already paying into Medicaid through their taxes, other states all around us are expanding Medicaid for their citizens using Mississippi's taxpayers' dollars. Medicaid expansion would, 1, ensure that more Mississippians have access to affordable health care, including mothers and their babies. 2, help keep our rural hospitals open. And 3, if God forbid, your child breaks his arm or your parent gets sick, you don't have to drive 3 hours round trip just to get basic health care services like my dad. You should be able to see your doctor right there in your community. And we can't discuss health care without talking about women's reproductive freedom. Let's face it, for years there has been an open attack on the ability of women to make their own health care decisions. And for years, Senator Roger Wicker has been leading that charge. Here is my stance on women's reproductive freedom. 3 things. 1, I cannot get pregnant. 2, I cannot carry a baby in my body nor give birth. Therefore, 3, as a man, I am not qualified to tell a woman if, when, or with whom she should start a family. That is a decision between that woman, her doctor, and her religious leader. And that's why, as the next United States Senator from Mississippi, I will fight to ensure Medicaid expansion stays on the table until our state leaders get themselves together. 2, we continue to lower prescription drugs. And 3, we codify Roe v. Wade. Education. Now, in 2017, something very interesting happened on the federal level. Before the United States Senate, there was a vote to determine who would be the next Secretary of Education. That year, the Senate was split 50-50. Now, you think that for the position of Secretary of Education, they'd be considering a teacher, a school administrator, a professor, right? In fact, the person up for nomination that year was not a school teacher, was not a principal, was not a superintendent. The person wasn't even a school champion. She was a private investor in computer chips. Absolutely zero experience in education. When the Senate voted, it came to a 50-50 tie, a deadlock in which Vice President Pence at the time had to break. He voted in favor. Guess who was one of the deciding votes to confirm the nomination? You got it, Senator Roger Wicker. As your next United States Senator, I will vote to confirm someone for Secretary of Education who actually has experience in education, understands the importance of equitably funding our public schools, and is on the side of supporting legislation like the Pay Teachers Act, which would make sure that teachers are paid at least $60,000 a year. In closing, I am running for United States Senate because many of our elected leaders today have failed us. They have forgotten us and forfeited the promise they made to us and to the United States of America. Some of them have forgotten the meaning of things like selfless service, honesty, and duty. Many of them are more loyal to a right or a left, a red or a blue, a Republican or Democrat ideology than they are to helping move our country forward. They have forgotten that what's most important is improving the lives of you and your family. They have forgotten the importance of listening to community members and hearing what's important to you. For this, they have failed. And that's why our campaign motto is you talk, I listen, we do. Throughout this campaign, we will visit communities across all 82 counties so that 1, you can talk and share what's important to you and your family. 2, I can listen and hear what's important to your family and your community. And 3, together we can do what's necessary to move our country forward. Nearly a year ago, we launched our campaign with purpose, passion, and perseverance, knowing full well the challenges that lie ahead. Today, after 12 months of unwavering commitment, we remain resolute, revitalized, and ready to propel this campaign to success. I am bolstered by the belief that the people of Mississippi are ready for a renewal, ready for representation, and ready for real change. Our journey to victory begins right now by gearing up, getting off the sidelines, and getting into the fight. And in the spirit of hope that has always defined the best of us, let us remember that our collective future is not written for us, but by us. In our state, which has produced some of this country's most prolific writers, we have the power to pen a new chapter for Mississippi, a story of unity over division, of compassion over indifference, and of progress over stagnation. Because in our state, which is literally known As the birthplace of American music, it's about nurturing a democracy that is reflective of the vibrant tapestry of voices singing out all across Mississippi, from the school teacher to the cafeteria cook to the concerned parent, singing out for better funded schools and higher pay for teachers, from the nurse to the neurosurgeon to the elderly community member, singing out for quality, affordable health care and better pay for nurses, from the postman to the police officer, singing out for safer communities for all of our families, and from the factory worker up north, out east, and down south on the coast, to the farm worker in my beloved Mississippi Delta, singing out for better pay and a stronger economy for all Mississippians. This is more than a campaign. It's about to be a movement, a testament to what we can achieve as Mississippians when we stand together, anchored by our shared values and driven by a common dream. So let's renew our belief in the power of change, the strength of community, and the promise of a brighter Mississippi. Join me on this journey by going to www.typinkins.com and supporting our campaign by making a donation and signing up to volunteer. Let's make history together. Thank you so much. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all so much. Hey. Yeah, no. Are you singing?
Oh, it's good to see you again. How's it going? All right. So you're shooting for the candidate?
Yeah.
It's volunteer. Who needs help? All Democrats need help.
Yeah.